Hi, this is part 8 of the Dancing Star animation series. If you've just reopened your project file like I have, be sure to click on the main star bone folder, and then we need to return to the last keyframe created. In my case, it was frame 72. It's very important if you're going to do more work on a keyframe that you are right over top of it. If you're not sure, you can just use the zoom tool. And now I'm going to have to horizontally scroll. And that can help because it enlarges it so you can see if you are in fact right over top of it. And now I'm going to zoom back out and move this over. Now go to the word animation in the main menu and click on Add Keyframe. Again, we get this warning message about sublayers, and we're going to choose yes. Now if you look in the timeline, you'll see that it did add keyframes, just as we did for frame 36. This includes keyframes for the Z rotation, layer scale, and layer translation, which is essentially for forward motion. Having the keyframes here will prevent any unwanted animation prior to this set of keyframes. And you'll come to understand this better as you continue to learn to animate. Now we're going to have the star swirl around in the sky. Move over to frame 78. In Tools, click on Transform Layer. Click on the star and move it to the left and up a little bit. Go to frame 84 and then click on the star and move it down a little bit. Go to frame 90 and move it down and to the right. I'm going to be moving a half a dozen frames at a time, and you can see about how much I'm moving it each time that I go to the next frame and then push the star around. So I don't want to stretch it too far along up here. And it doesn't matter that that line is crossing over itself. That's just the path of the star. So you can see that I'm going 6 frames and back up here and pushing the star around. And then I'm going to go approximately back to where it started. I'll stop now on frame 150, and I'd like to test it and see what it looks like. I can just click here in the ruler, dragging the scrub bar across, and I'll just stop it right there and push the play button. Okay, I need to drag the horizontal scroll across. So ensuring that I'm back on frame 150 again, looking up here next to angle, in this field, type 360. That's for one full rotation, that's 360 degrees, and hit the enter key on your keyboard. Now if we look down here, let's look at our keyframes so that you get familiar with what's going on here. For one thing, all of these keyframes here were along the line for layer translation, okay, forward motion, which is what we did. And then when I typed in 360 up here for angle, it also added a keyframe for that layer Z rotation. So now let's play it. I'm going to click back here at around frame 66 and push the play button again. So you see how the star twirled around because I added in that information about the angle. After you've tested it, go back to that last set of keyframes, and we need to fill up all these lines with keyframes again. So go up to Animation and click on Add Keyframe. Say yes, and then it filled up the rows again. Now we'll have the star come down onto the moon's surface. And we're also going to make it get a little bit bigger, as though it's getting closer to us. Go to frame 174 and bring the star down here to the moon, maybe at a little angle. We're also going to resize it, clicking on any one of these four corners, but preferably the top ones. Pass the mouse around until you see the diagonal line with the two arrows on either end of it. Click and drag and make the star a little bit bigger. Now you see if I make it too much bigger, I'll have the tips of the points hanging below my stage, but that's okay. I'll just move it up. So there, I'll just push it up to here. Because we don't want the bottom of the feet to be too close to the very bottom edge of what is going to be rendered in the animation. And then we can put a little arc in its path. And here's its path right here. In fact, I'll hide my sky layer by clicking on these eyeballs down here. And that way you can even see mine a little bit better. So if I pull across the ruler here, pulling the scrub bar, and I go part way back, then I can push my star just a little bit over to the right and then move a little further back and again push some to the right. So it made this line a little bit curved. So if I click back here a ways on the timeline and push play, I can test it. Okay. Now looking at the timeline, click back to the last couple of keyframes here that were created on 174. Go up to Animation and choose Add Keyframe again. Click on Yes. I'll pause now and continue in the next video because we'll be working on animating the bones next.